there, it's Ham Nation time. We have got such a huge show, I had to make notes. Look, on my DX Engineering notepad, we're going to talk about cool Ham Nation gifts for your favorite ham. Santa's going to drop in from the 3916 SantaNet. Bob has a new QTH, and we'll tell you about that. He'll show it to you. Gordo with more on the Receive Parametric EQ. Randy's going to drop in and tell us what's going on. Newsline with Dr. T, of course, and part 2 of Tower Safety with Jim Idelson. You do not want to miss this. It is vital that you pay attention because we're saving lives, and it could be yours that we save. It's a big show. It's an important show, and it's coming up for you next here on Ham Nation.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of Ham Nation is brought to you by ICOM. For more information, visit icomamerica.com/hamnation. And by DX Engineering. DX Engineering offers practically everything you need to outfit your shack, plus the fastest shipping in the industry. Most in-stock items ship the same day, Monday through Friday until 10 p.m. Eastern. For more information, visit dxengineering.com/hamnation.
This is Ham Nation, episode number 432 for December 11th, 2019. Tower Safety, Part 2.
Hi, everybody. It's Bob Heil. Yes, I do exist. I know I haven't been here a lot, but we're going to show you a little bit why. We have an incredible show tonight. I mean, big time. Jim Idelson will be here later on. If you remember him from last week, he's got this just an incredible tower safety program, and you're going to get volume 2. So we're looking forward to that. Gordo is here. Don Wilbanks is in the wings. He's getting all set up with Tamitha. George is gone. I think he's in New Orleans. So if anybody around New Orleans, look around. And he's going down to fix a transmitter, of course. And we have some very special people. First of all, Pete is here. Pete, thanks for coming aboard. All of you might know him better as the moderator on 3916. And thanks for coming, Pete.
Bob.
But you have another little different thing, and we'll get back to you in a minute. It's got something to do with Christmas, right?
That is correct.
Yes. Okay. We're going to be back to you in just a second. But some of my friends from the Ozark is with me, Holly and Craig from Ham Crazy. It's so nice that you could be here with us.
Thanks for having us, Bob.
Well, we want to talk about a couple of things quickly. What really intrigues me is what I have on my sweater here. You make some really cool badges. And a lot of times you see badges, but they're not really cool. This one is great. Show them some of the other things you're doing also. There's a whole bunch of things. Oh, yes. The Ham Nation one is really super. I don't know if you can see it or not. There's
one of our licensed blacks. Yep.
License. Yeah, that's great.
Original.
And I hope there you go. That'll be a little better. It's a really neat badge. I'm a fan of Ham Nation. And tell them about the special you have on this, Holly.
Well, if you order a badge, you can get one of these little free little hat pins here. It says I'm a fan of Ham Nation. And if you type in the code Ham Nation, I saw it on Ham Nation, you get the free little pin, and then the badges are 10. And with any other purchase, you get 15% off and the free badge.
Oh, wow. That's great. That's great. And how they get to you is simply go to your website, hamcrazy.com, right?
That's right. And if you use the coupon code HamNation during checkout, it'll take the 15% off your entire order. And along with that, we'll send you I'm a fan of Ham Nation pin for your hat or your lapel or for your bulletin board.
That's great. Well, thanks for doing that. And we're going to have you back on when we get back here after the first of the year. We want to see the rest of your factory where you build all this stuff. So we'll have you on then. But I wanted everybody to have you now because they're great Christmas presents, big time.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're celebrating 10 years coming up, and we're both hams, and we love what we do. We love working with ham radio operators every day.
That's great. That's great. So, well, we'll see you here after Christmas. You have a good Christmas, and we'll make it all happen from there. So well,
thank you.
Go ahead.
I was going to say thank you. Merry Christmas to you all.
Merry Christmas, Bob, and everybody there. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. All right. Well, in the form of Christmas, let's move down to Texas and talk to Pete. Pete, you are something else. KE5GGY. We really appreciate you being on the show tonight, and try to catch you on 3916 each night. I love all the trivia. So tell us a little about what you do there.
Well, I hang out. It's a friendly frequency, and I've been hanging out there since about 2005. We're on the air with just a group. It's a net, but it's also kind of an informal group starting at 7 p.m. Central every night. As you said, Bob, we have a number of activities. We just pass it around. We have a formal net at 10 p.m. Central called the Freewheelers, and during Christmas we do something very special, and that is called SantaNet. So every night at 7:15 p.m. Central, we invite stations to contact us and connect good boys and girls with Santa Claus at the North Pole. And we have strategically positioned stations throughout North America, hams that come in and volunteer to connect the good boys and girls with Santa Claus. And it is an amazing experience, not only for the kids that get connected with Santa and get a chance to try out ham radio, but also just for everybody involved. It's been an amazing experience. 14th year on 3916, Bob. So we've been doing this every year. It started with just a couple of people, and now I think we're going to be. I'm not sure what the projection is for this year. We kind of take it as we go each year, but we've got better systems every year. We're able to handle more and more kids because we get more efficient, and it is just a ton of fun. By the way, we're on the air every night at 7:15. We open up the website for check-ins at 5 p.m. Central. So you can go to cqsanta.com, get a place on the check-in sheet so you know when you're going to be coming up with Santa. And we'll be doing this every night through and including Christmas Eve.
What a great place to take your children, take your grandchildren, take your great-great-grandchildren, and you can take your wife or anybody. It's so much fun.
Neighbor kids. We've got a couple of Boy Scout, Cub Scout troops coming in, church groups. We've got several community groups that are going to be setting up a portable station in a city central park, and I hope we're ready for that kind of volume. But I'm sure we'll be fine.
Well, the best thing about it is that you're turning ham radio onto a lot of people that normally would not understand what we do. And so this is really great, and I appreciate you doing that very, very much.
I've got a treat, Bob. I guess we're going to take a little break, but Santa was flying over, kind of testing out the sleigh over North America, and he made a stop here just north of Dallas in Denton County. He's landed. And if you give me a second, I'll get him on the air.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Oh, wow.
In the meantime, we want to talk about what's coming up next. You don't want to miss this. You know, I told you I've been gone. Well, I'm going to give you a little synopsis of this place. We are in Belleville, Illinois. This is about 15 miles south and east of the Great Arch of downtown St. Louis. And that's about 4 or 5 miles from the Heil Sound plant. But we've lived here now since 96. And we decided to take the 4-car garage and do something with it. So we're gonna get that all set up here in a minute. But we can't hold Santa up. That's the problem. We have to take him as he comes. So let's see if Santa has made it yet, or if he's still
not yet
trundling over the rooftops. You know how that goes. But I'm so thrilled to be back. I missed all you people, good friends. I get a lot of emails from everybody, and I appreciate all those. And no, I haven't been sick. And no, Sarah's wonderful. A lot of people thought maybe it's no, she's great. She was just here a while ago with our puppy dog, Gracie. But it was just one of those things that it was time for us to build this in Belleville. And we still have the home down in the Ozarks. In fact, we're going to put it on the market. So if anybody would like to have a really cool home with phased arrays and towers and 6 meter, 20 meter, all kinds of things, it's all there. So call me. We could fix it up for you, turnkey. Uh-oh, he has arrived. Oh my gosh, Santa, it's so good that you showed up. Because I know...
Young
Gordo
Bobby, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. I've been very, very good this year, and especially knowing that we're going to get to talk to you. Gordo is here too. Gordo, check this out. We get to talk to Santa Claus on Ham Nation. How about this, Gordon?
I think that's wonderful. Santa, can I have some more wires for my ham station so I can run them all over?
Gordo, hold on just a second. I got to check my iPhone and see if you're on the good boy list this year. There's Bob Heil. Just a couple of exceptions. We'll get to that later. Let's see, Gordo.
Yeah,
you have a different spelling on your name. I don't seem to find you here, so
yep.
I'm very sorry about that.
Yep. So I promise to be better so I can come up on your iPhone maybe next year.
Well, we'll look for you. You're looking mighty good, though, Gordo. You don't look a day over I don't know, 35. You look good.
All right. Well, Santa, we're tuned in to you on our ICOM 9100 right here. So after the net, we sure hope to work you.
Yay.
Okay, well, remember, boys and girls, every night at 7:15, 39:16, we're talking to good boys and girls all the way through Christmas Eve. And remember that if you're good, I'll come to your house. Be good, not like Gordo.
Oh, that's
fabulous.
Great. That's great. Well, we're so thrilled to have some spirit of Christmas here. Well, before we get out, take it out to Gordo, I want to take us a couple of minutes. I've got some slides that Victor can bring up and tell you a little bit about what I have been doing. This is a thing that's been taking place since last summer. That's the outbuilding at Pleasant Hope. And up on that second story is a 2-bedroom apartment and a large living room. And in that living room, slide 2, was the theater organ. And you might have seen them. That's what I do every Saturday night on WTWW. Want to be sure and tune in to WTWW around 7:30. And how do you do that? Because the thing's 600 pounds, so we had to build a special door to get it in there 8 years ago. But how do you do it? You do it with a very special lift. And the 600-pound monster, we put that on there, and out she came, and down to the ground and in the truck. Well, here we are in Belleville on the outside of another special door that had to be a 40-inch door that we built around the corner here. And we brought this in, and there it is in its glory in Belleville. So I'm going to take you, I hope I don't get you dizzy doing this, but I'm going to take you on a little trip around what's going on here. It all starts out, there we go. It all starts out over here. Of course, we have to have our reel-to-reel recorders and all the analog audio. But this is the mainstay of the ICOM 7851, 7610. But there's a Drake 2B, and what's on top? The Pine board, all hooked up, ready to go. And below is the switches and stuff for all of this. And we're going to get into some of that on future shows. You really got to get into some of the switching. It's so simple. And then comes the good stuff of Central Electronics, my Mosley receiver, Harvey Wells, ICO, and all of that stuff. That takes care of the ham radio stuff. However, up above, this is a 15-foot ceiling in this room, are all of the speakers. And this thing has 10 speakers. That's the left side. That happens to be the subwoofers. And, of course, the other right side. And those are all driven with individual amplifiers. And it's really been quite something to get it all back home again. I guess I can say home. And let me see here if I can make this work. Sometimes I can and sometimes I can't, but we're going to try it. See if I can switch cameras on us here. That work okay for you? You see that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, just to prove that we hooked it all up, we did this, and I'll do a little bit of thing.
I love that cushion. Wow, Bob.
I wanted to prove to you that we got it hooked up, and it took me 2 days to do that. But we've done it a couple of times now. But it's working, so that's good. Let me see if I can get the camera switched around here. It's been quite something, I do have to tell you. A lot of work. We went through a lot of stuff, and we made it. 50-foot truck, and away we went. So that'll give you a little insight of where I've been and what we've been doing and all that good stuff. I missed you, though. I have to tell you that. So, Gordo, take it away, and we're going to come back with more stuff. Don't forget, Jim Idelson is here, but Don's coming up, and who knows what he's got, but it's going to be good stuff. Go ahead, Gordo.
All right. Well, thanks, Bob. And that was just terrific. And I can't wait to meet Santa on the air. And tonight, Bob reminded me that we needed a little bit more discussion on the parametric unit that Bob came up with to improve reception. And Bob, you're right. I didn't have just the right audio. So thanks to Bob, he did this special. And now you're going to hear how this unit works so well. So stand by. We're going to get it on the air in just a moment. And I'll push the magic button here. And we'll
to begin our demonstration, set the input control so that the LED overload flashes only on voice peaks.
Okay, I got it.
As you were listening to me, reach over and set all equalizer controls to their flat 12 o'clock position.
Okay.
This is how the signal sounds in your receiver without EQ. Move over to the low control and set that flat, or 12 o'clock.
You're flat.
Now set the high control to its flat position.
Okay.
The most important setting will be made with the parametric mid controls. Set the mid gain control to its 5 o'clock position. And now, as the DX signal begins, rotate the mid-frequency control between 1.5 and 4K. You will note that about the 2.5K will become the sweet spot. You also may want to balance the signal a little with some lows and some highs.
Okay. I got it, Bob. I got it. Wow.
Echo India.
Oh, that's
Bravo,
better.
Lima Bravo. PI-ATLB calling in by. For Sierra, Germany.
I got it. I got it, Bob.
Very good day to you from Ireland.
Whoop. There we go.
Lima, India, Alpha Mike, over.
Well, it made a big difference.
CQ, centimeters. Echo India 8, Bravo, Lima Bravo.
Wow.
PI-ATLB calling in by.
Here are a couple of usual single sideband signals that are mushy and bassy, difficult to understand. You can add some speech articulation just by adding some 2.5 mid-range.
Ability of the 2 meter, sideband, but they're just not. It's not the same as a rig built, just for 2 meters.
There we go.
The receivers will never compare. So it's kind of nice that, again, ICOM technology. They were nice enough in my county, which was the worst, by the way, paid in the area. They gave me 5 years seniority, but I was basically starting at the bottom. So many times people who spend
that made a difference.
20 years in the Navy or whatever the military is and retire, people say, well, you got it made. No, you don't.
This next signal is completely opposite. It is all highs, nothing under 600 hertz. So set the controls back to flat.
Flat.
The high, the mid-frequency gain, and the low. All will be flat, which is the way your receiver hears all of these signals and the way they were recorded. As this next signal begins, you will adjust the low from the flat or 12 o'clock position to wide open, 5 o'clock.
Okay. I got it.
I had a lot of fun the other night.
Okay. I promise. I'll do it.
I wonder if I can copy that.
All right. Here we go, Bob.
At about 30 words a minute, and so I speeded up the tape.
Whoa. That made a difference.
Enough, I can copy it. I had a lot of fun the other night. I thought, I wonder if I can copy that.
Add some highs.
At about 30 words a minute, and so I speeded up the tape, and sure enough, I can copy it.
You may want to experiment with all of the equalization controls on my voice. Play with the mid-range, the low, the high. Don't be afraid. Adjust those. The main thing is to listen to the mids especially. The mid gain is usually always up at 4 to 5 o'clock.
And he's right. So, wow,
to begin
Bob,
our demonstration,
thank you for this great
so that the LED
There we go. Thank you for this great demonstration. I think many of those on Ham Nation who saw the earlier ones the last 2 weeks said, well, give us some different kinds of audio. And we heard someone with a D104 microphone, and certainly that lacked the lows, but this one brought it right back. So me with hearing aids, Bob, this thing really makes a difference. All right, let's check in that we're going to check in with Santa Claus on 3916. Let's check in with ICOM America and see how they're doing with all of their great HF, VHF, and UHF products. So more from ICOM.
Wish it, wrap it, gift it. Step up your gift-giving game this year and get your favorite ham, the transceiver, at the top of their list. ICOM offers a variety of high-performance and innovative products. Make the most of this holiday season with one of these ICOM rigs today. 'Tis the season to give your favorite ham the SDR they really want, the IC7610. This high-performance SDR has the ability to pick out the faintest of signals, even in the presence of stronger adjacent signals. The IC7610 is a direct sampling software-defined radio that will change the world's definition of a SDR radio. RF direct sampling, 110 dB RMDR, independent dual receivers, and dual digicell. Ham for the holidays. The IC7300 is changing the way entry-level HF is designed. This high-performance, innovative HF transceiver with a compact design will far exceed your expectations. RF direct sampling, 15 discrete bandpass filters, large 4.3-inch color touchscreen, real-time spectrum scope, and SD memory card slot. The transceiver at the top of every ham's wish list this holiday season is the IC9700. Keep your competitive contesting edge with faster processors, higher input gain, higher display resolution, and a cleaner signal. ICOM's IC9700 is the pinnacle of perfection. 4.3-inch color touchscreen TFT LCD, dual watch operation, and full duplex operation in satellite mode. Real-time, high-speed spectrum scope, and waterfall display. SD memory card slot for voice recording and playback. Support for CW, AM, FM, single sideband, RIDI, and D-Star DV and DD modes. Visit ICOMAmerica.com/amateur for more information on all these great ICOM radios.
Hey, ICOM enjoys hams being radioactive, and in addition to the various contests and ham radio activities that ICOM supports and sponsors, ICOM is a proud sponsor of Youngsters on the Air, or YODA, and December is Region 1 and Region 2 YODA Activation Month. Work all or one of the YODA stations in Region 1 or Region 2 and help create excitement about our wonderful amateur radio hobby. Go to events.ham-yoda.com. And ICOMAmerica.com/amateur is where you want to go for more information on ICOM radios. You can enter ICOM's weekly drawing for swag like T-shirts and hats. And don't forget to check out the details on ICOM's monthly grand prize drawing. It's ICOMAmerica.com/HamNation for official rules. And check out all of ICOM's previous drawing winners. Sign up and good luck. And thanks for being here, ICOM. We appreciate you. So cool to have Bob back, and especially playing the organ tonight. You know, he does the organ music on WTWW. Well, that's not all that they do Christmas-wise on WTWW. In fact, I got a text from Ted Randall here. They have the Christmas picture contest. Now, what you do is you shoot a picture of your receiver, whatever it is, modern, vintage, doesn't matter, pine board, whatever, listening to WTWW. Put some Christmas decorations and Christmas lights, and they will pick a winner. Several winners, probably, in fact. And also, you can call in and send your Christmas greeting to the world on shortwave. All the details are on the homepage, WTWW.us, and just check that out, of course. And Ted Randall will be on the big one tonight, too, after Ham Nation. So check out Ted Randall. Pretty amazing stuff. This is just a cool show tonight. There's so much good stuff coming up. I can't hardly believe it. But first, let's go ahead and get into the news of the week from Amateur Radio Newsline and some solar update from Dr. T. From Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2197. These are the Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, December 11th, 2019. Our top story this week, the ongoing bushfire devastation in Australia. One vital team suffered a new challenge with its radio equipment.
As bushfires continue to threaten parts of Australia, the Northern Tablelands team of the New South Wales Rural Fire Service suffered a serious setback. Vandals struck a portable radio repeater trailer that firefighters and aircraft depend on for vital communication links. Radio equipment and numerous technical and mechanical components were stolen from inside the damaged trailer, which had been deployed southeast of Nimboida. This has kept the trailer offline, placing fire crews in even more danger as they push back against the deadly blazes. The Nimboida fires are some 400 miles north of Sydney, capital city of VK2. As police continue their investigation into vandalism and thefts, one woman announced on Facebook that she had combined her holiday party with a fundraiser to help with the losses. She reported on the 1st of December she'd raised nearly $1,200 at the event. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Graham Kemp, VK4BB.
December is the month for celebrating young operators on the air. While plans are underway for a Region 2 youth radio camp this summer, young hams are already tuning up this month.
The Youth on the Air organization is growing every year. Newsline's own Neil Rapp, WB9VPG, is organizing a Region 2 YODA camp, and our 2018 Young Ham of the Year, Bryant Raskell, KG5HVO, is very much involved in this month's event.
I am currently the YODA Month coordinator for Region 2. We thought we would join Region 1 as well as Region 3 and have a joint special event operation that involves youth from all over the world. And so the goal is mainly to get youth on the radio. youth is defined as an operator under 25 years old.
You can find out more at the website, yotaregion2.org. That's with the numeral 2. We encourage everyone to try and work all of the stations involved in this month's event. All of us at Newsline would also like to congratulate Bryant on achieving the level of Eagle Scout, earning it with a service project that includes amateur radio. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Paul Brown, WD9GCO.
Last but by no means least, Amateur Radio Newsline proudly announces the winner of our newscast's first International Newsmaker of the Year award, a group that has consistently shown leadership and commitment to the ham radio community.
What began 26 years ago in West Bengal, India, as the result of one ham radio operator's commitment to community service and safety, has blossomed into a powerhouse radio team of 285. The West Bengal Radio Club helps with critical communications during cyclones and earthquakes, reunites despairing families with missing members, transmits election results from rural polling places, and teaches farmers who cannot afford lightning arresters to build their own life-saving devices. Each January, they also serve as a safety net for the tens of thousands of Hindu pilgrims who travel to the Bay of Bengal and the River Ganges for the Holy Mela festival. Most recently, they helped put a stop to signal jamming that was blocking deep-sea fishermen's access to essential broadcasts of cyclone warnings. Congratulations to the West Bengal Radio Club from all of us at ARN. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Ed Durant, DD5LP.
And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news for 4 decades and counting at arnewsline.org. With Graham Kemp, VK4BB, Paul Brown, WD9GCO, Ed Durant, DD5LP, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe. I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW. 7-3. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation. Now, here's the solar update from Dr. Tamitha Skov, WX6SWW.
This forecast sponsored in part by Eric Johansson. Check him out at Instagram.com/Scubist. Space weather this week remains on the quiet side. You can definitely see a few bright regions on the Earth-facing disk, including a few at high latitudes, especially in the northern hemisphere, and that is yet more signs that solar cycle 25 is trying to get started, but it's just not here yet. So don't expect these regions to pop any flares or anything like that. They kind of disappear almost as rapidly as they emerge, but it does help the solar flux. We are boosting up in the solar flux a little bit, which is good news for amateur radio operators and emergency responders. We're back in the marginal range for radio propagation. Now, on top of that, we also have a very small coronal hole that's rotating in through the Earth strike zone here over the next few days, but these coronal holes are closing pretty quickly, so don't expect much aurora photographers. If you're at high latitude, you could probably get a little bit of a show, but mid-latitudes, you're probably going to have to sit this one out. Switching to your M-flare threat meter, as you can see, the X-ray flux continues to be flatlined, and therefore by proxy, the solar flux also continues to be pretty low. However, if you look, you can see that the floor of the X-ray flux has actually bumped up a little bit. We're now just sitting just below the B floor, and this is, believe it or not, a little bit of an improvement. So we are seeing a little bit of the solar flux going up as well, and this is likely due to those bright regions that keep popping out and emerging on the Earth-facing disk and then receding, and then more pop out and recede again. So it's definitely good news. It's moving in the right direction. We are now sitting at the hairy edge of marginal for radio propagation, and it looks like these trends are going to continue. Switching to your solar storm conditions, as you can see, over the past week or more, we've been sitting at pretty much quiet conditions to about unsettled conditions. Now, we have had a couple coronal holes rotate in through the Earth strike zone and send us some fast solar wind, but the fast solar wind anymore just doesn't have that oomph to really bump us up to active or even storm levels. And unfortunately, the coronal hole that we're expecting to pass through the Earth strike zone here in the next day or two is going to be the same story. We'll probably bump up to unsettled conditions, but nothing like active or storm levels most likely. And this means aurora photographers, you guys at high latitudes, you're probably going to get a show, but mid latitudes, you're going to have to sit this one out. The only positive thing is that GPS users and amateur radio operators and emergency responders, these mild storms have a tendency to stabilize that upper atmosphere, so GPS reception should look pretty good, and amateur radio should get a little bit of a boost. Switching to your solar storm conditions and aurora possibilities over the coming week, we are anticipating a bit of fast solar wind from a coronal hole that's rotating in through the Earth strike zone, but we're not expecting the fast wind to be all that powerful. So at high latitudes, NOAA is expecting unsettled conditions with up to about a 15% chance of a minor storm, which might, as we roll through the weekend, jump up to maybe a 20 to 25% chance of a minor storm. Now, mid-latitudes, we're really expecting unsettled conditions with only about a 10 to 15% chance of active conditions, but most likely we're really not going to get a chance for aurora down to mid-latitudes. It's most likely going to stay at high latitudes, and so your aurora photographers at mid-latitudes, you're just going to have to sit this one out. So the space weather this week is a bit on the quiet side. Now we do have a coronal hole that's rotating in through the Earth strike zone, and it could bring us a little bit of aurora down to high latitudes, but these coronal holes are closing pretty fast, and the fast solar wind that they send us just don't have the oomph anymore to bump us up to storm levels. So aurora photographers at mid-latitudes, I'm sorry, you're probably going to have to sit this one out. Now amateur radio operators and emergency responders, well, you know, we're getting a little bit more activity in terms of bright regions kind of popping and emerging on the Earth-facing disk, and believe it or not, even without the solar flares happening yet, we are boosting that solar flux just a little bit. So now we're at the kind of low edge of marginal radio propagation, and it looks like these trends are going to continue at least for a little while. So that's good news for you. And then also you GPS users, well, you know, you're getting a mild solar storm, and that's pretty much the only kind of solar storms we're getting right now. And the solar flux still stays reasonably low. So that's great news for you as well, because it means that your upper atmosphere is being stabilized even at low altitudes and low latitudes, and so your GPS reception all over the globe should look pretty good. I'm Tamitha Skov. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Dr. T. Make sure you follow her on Twitter at Tamitha Skov, and check out that website, spaceweatherwoman.com, for practically up to the second information on what's going on with the sun and everything else up there. It's good stuff, and we're awfully thrilled to have her as a ham and here on the Newsline team. Somebody else we're really thrilled to have on our team is Randy, K7AGE, and he's got a little sneak peek of what's going on in Randy World.
Hi, Randy, K7AGE. I have too many projects, not enough time. We'd like to see your projects of what you're working on. Are you restoring any old ham gear? Are you building something new, doing some 3D printing, building an antenna? The Ham Nation viewers would like to see your project. So take some photos and write up a little description and send it to me at hamprojects@twit.tv. That's hamprojects@twit.tv. See you on the show. 73.
All right. Thank you, Randy. Look forward to the next installment. Let's talk a little bit about DX Engineering, shall we? It's Christmas time, and if you're in a bit of a panic about finding just the right gift for that ham radio enthusiasts in your life, relax. DX Engineering's got you. They make it simple to get your holiday shopping done in plenty of time. The gift that fits everyone, a DX Engineering gift card. So one size fits all present. Every ham will love. Order your gift cards online or by phone in denominations from $25 to $500. You know, there's that one ham that you think, God, I wonder, he's always getting new stuff in his check. What can we get him? Well, let's just get him the gift card, and believe me, he'll find something to use it on, and he'll love it. The gift cards retain the remaining balance, if not redeemed for the entire face value in one transaction, too, so no worries about that. You want to really spiff up somebody's shack, the Geochron Digital 4K version 2 UHD World Clock gives you all the functionality and beauty of Geochron's famous classic mechanical clock, but at a budget-friendly price. This provides magnificent displays of the Earth with the sunrise, sunset rendered in real time through a small computer, plugs directly into a 4K TV, which you provide. The clock's ham radio map set includes a display of the gray line in real time, DX and international prefixes, equatorial, latitude and longitude, and tropic points of reference. And this latest version features a faster Linux platform, the Earth's weather displayed in real time, International Space Station, and satellite tracking, and a whole lot more. Pretty cool bit of kit. And DX Engineering carries apparel and collectibles because everybody wants to look swanky, featuring the DX Engineering logo. Choose from men's and women's T-shirts, polo shirts, really sharp polo shirts, the 24-hour wall clock, coffee mugs, ball cap, tote bag, umbrella. You'll be styling. The new DX Engineering knit winter caps. This is cool, particularly if you're going to be like out doing winter field day activities or You have some tower work to do, or you got a brand new antenna that you just got to put up Christmas morning, and it's a little bit chilly, perfect for you. And if you're already thinking about field day or portable apps, DX Engineering's 10-foot by 10-foot canopy shelter makes a great gift. Sturdy metal frame shelter collapses down for easy transport, and the provided carry bag keeps sun or rain off of your pretty little head. And DX Engineering wants to make sure that your gifts arrive on time, so place your orders by 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on December 19th. You'll get Christmas delivery via ground shipping. DX Engineering ships faster than anybody else in the industry. Most orders placed by 10 p.m. Eastern are shipped the same day. Proven products, expert advice. DX Engineering is helping you shrink the globe. Request your catalog or shop online 24/7 at dxengineering.com/HamNation. And we, of course, thank DX Engineering for their support of Ham Nation. Back over to you, Bob, for a topic that I know is near and dear to your heart. And I like to think that we're saving lives by featuring all the tower safety stuff. So let's get back into that.
You certainly are right, Don. It's been something this year, all of the different people that have lost their lives. And a lot of it is because we have never had any kind of communications or education about tower safety. K3LR, our great friend Tim, has done some nice things here earlier this year, but we found out that we just touched the surface. Jim Idelson has been a friend of ours for, I don't know, over 20 years. And Jim is really into antennas and towers and so on. He's part of the YCCC group, and he really knows a lot about what's going on. And he took the time to put together this great, just great segment, and there's 3 of them. And you're going to hear number 2 tonight. And Jim, I really appreciate you being here, and we look forward to what you have tonight and, of course, for next week. Thanks so much, Jim. We look forward to this.
Thanks, Bob. It's great to be back again for the second part of our Ham Nation series on tower safety. We have a lot of material to cover today, so let's dive right in. Last week, we learned that over a very short period of just 10 months, 4 lives were lost in incidents related to amateur radio tower work. We also learned that if we compare this recent fatality rate with those of other activities considered to be risky, we find ourselves to be at far greater risk. In amateur radio tower climbing, we see fatality rates 4 times that of professional tower construction and maintenance, and 7 times what is reported in amateur skydiving. We can only conclude that we do have a problem and that we need to explore the issue further to better understand what's going on. In this second part of the series, we're going to explore the data available to us in an effort to identify specific root causes and potential solutions. So let's look at some data. Through many hours of searching the internet records and other publicly available data sources, we were able to piece together the history of fatal amateur incidents from 2003 until today. There were 14 incidents in which 16 people lost their lives. We will be asking some questions about what happened in each of these instances in our effort to discover the root causes. A quick note here about studying fatalities. Our focus is certainly not on just preventing fatalities. We need to prevent injuries as well. But while fatalities are widely reported and good information about them is often available, reporting of non-fatal injuries is very limited. We do know that for every fatality, a large number of injuries is quite likely to have occurred. With the right analysis and course of action, we're hopeful that many non-fatal injuries can also be prevented. It turns out that as we searched for tower safety incidents, we found 5 well-documented cases that were not fatal, but because they were quite severe and in many cases could have been fatal, we included them in our analysis. Our next step was to start asking questions about this collection of incidents. The first question we asked is about the types of towers involved. Here we see that almost 3/4 of the incidents involved a guide tower. A few self-supporting towers were also involved. Next, we looked at the types of incidents that led to a fatality or serious injury. You can see here that 2 incident types dominate. Falling with a tower while attached, that's the 50% indicated in red, and free fall, that's falling to the ground without any form of restraint. That's the 37% shown in yellow. There was one case of electrocution and another case of being injured by the tower itself. A very interesting statistic appears when we look at the type of work that was being done when the incident happened. Nearly 60% of these incidents occurred during the construction or removal of the tower itself. Think about the life of a tower. Construction and demolition of the tower are typically done in just 1 or 2 days, while maintenance operations occur on many days over many, many years. This is an interesting pattern that needs to be explored further. So let's take a look at the types of incidents that occur in the construction phase versus what happens in the maintenance phase. When we are constructing or removing towers, we see that 90% of the incidents are of the falling with the tower type. So the tower falls over with you attached. When we look at the incidents that happen during the maintenance phase of the tower's life, we see that the dominant incident type is free fall. If we take a closer look and review the reports of each of the individual incidents, and then look at them in aggregate, a couple of clear root causes emerge. When we're talking about falling with a tower, we see that in every case, the tower was not safe for climbing. And in the case of falling from a tower, we see that the climber was either not wearing the proper equipment for safe climbing, or for some reason did not use proper climbing procedure while on the tower. And we have another additional category. We call it unsafe maneuvers. In these cases, the incident reports tell us that the work was being done without the right knowledge, without the right people, or the right tools. This is our final numbers chart. It shows that almost 50% of incidents result from climbing an unsafe tower, and another 37% result from a lack of proper fall protection equipment or the failure to use it correctly. One additional very important point to note is that every unsafe tower incident involved a guide tower. To highlight the importance of these 2 root causes, I'm going to refer to them as a deadly duo. Okay, now let's talk about the 2 root causes and what can be done about them. Let's talk about unsafe guide towers first. We knowingly climb unsafe guide towers. The key word here is knowingly. It turns out that during construction and removal of a guide tower, we often unwittingly expose ourselves to great risk. The data shows that this happens when we're working with the lowest 30 to 40 feet of the tower. What's the intuition when it comes to that lower 30 feet? When the tower's going up, we think, hey, it's only temporary. It only needs to stay up like this for a short time. I can trust the base or that light rope to keep the tower vertical while I'm on it until I get to the first permanent guy point. And when taking the tower down, it's the reverse. I can take these last guys off and trust the base, and then I'll disassemble the last few sections. It'll hold. And then it doesn't hold. The other case where we see this kind of disaster is during temporary tower installations. Our incident data in this category includes 1 fatality on field day and a near-fatal injury that happened on a de-expedition. In both cases, towers were supported by rope guys and weak anchors. So what's the answer? A guide tower must be truly safe to climb, even when it's a temporary installation or during installation or removal of a permanent tower. And safe to climb means properly guide, always. Temporary guides are often required, but the important point to understand here is that temporary does not mean poor. We need real anchors, wire rope, and reliable terminations. You never guy a tower you intend to climb with rope. Temporary guides should be installed at very conservative vertical spacing and tensioned as if they will be permanent. If the anchors can't take the tension, then the tower isn't climbable. Bottom line, if you're going to climb a tower, it needs to be solidly guyed. Here's how we recently removed the last 40 feet of a Roan 45 tower. In this case, there was a tower section in concrete at the base, plus 4 full sections above that. A single set of guy wires were attached to the middle of the upper section, section A in the picture you see here. So what did we do? First, we set some temporary guys just below section B, just at the top of section C. And we moved the upper guys that were the original permanent guys down below to the middle of section D. So now we have 2 sets of guy wires holding this tower up. We climb up, remove sections A and B, and then we come back down and remove that upper set of temporary guys, leaving 1 set of guys holding the tower very, very securely. And then we climb down the tower, release that set of guys. Nobody's on the tower at this point. And we took the rest of the tower down by cutting the legs at the base and letting the 2 remaining sections fall. One last point about guide tower bases. As you look at these bases, I hope you realize that trusting an existing base is a risky thing to do. Damage may not be visible. It's best to assume that the base won't hold the tower vertical, and you've got to use those temporary guys. So at this point, we've addressed the problem of falling while attached to a failing guide tower. Now we need to address the second of the deadly duo, falling off a tower to the ground unrestrained. In these cases, what we're talking about is the problem of free climbing. Many of us older hams share a romanticized view of what free climbing is, simply scampering up a tower without the aid of any climbing gear at all. Some of us did that for years, and some of us still do it today. Like this guy. But free climbing isn't just carefree and gear-free climbing. We now have a real definition, provided to us by OSHA and other industry experts. It's a much stricter definition. The concept is you must be 100% attached. If you're ever not positively attached to a solid part of the tower by a proper high-strength lanyard, then you are free climbing. These are all examples of free climbing. Some of these people are wearing climbing gear, but either the gear or the technique puts them in the free climbing category. Look at this guy, for example. He has apparently run up the tower to deliver a rope or to untangle a rope, and he's not connected at all. Look at this. It's field day. And on field day, we have rope guy wires, and we have a guy up at about 20 feet, and he is not attached. He's apparently thinking about attaching a positioning lanyard. And another field day situation. This guy is potentially able to be properly attached to the tower, but it does not look like he is. He's got a full body harness on, but he's only got a positioning lanyard that he's leaning back on. So he's not properly attached. There's another. And then there's this guy here. He is standing on the top plate of a Roan 25 tower at about 80 feet, and he's connected with two short positioning lanyards. That is not a very safe situation to be in. That's me. And that's me in about 1997. So what is 100% attach? 100% attach requires two things. It requires that you have the right equipment, that full body harness, and that you use it properly all the time. A full body harness and a dual fall arrest lanyard enable you to maintain 100% attach. And careful attention to how you climb and move around the tower will ensure that that safety equipment can do its job if it's ever needed. Here's a short video showing the harness and how it's used.
Okay, so now we move to current day approved equipment, personal protection equipment. This thing is called a full body harness. It's made by a manufacturer called DBI Sala. They're a division of 3M. This is the thing you wear, and so it's over the shoulder and around the legs, and it has the positioning belt. The belt is actually not considered part of the safety design. The safety design is all about the strapping that goes around the weight-bearing part of the design. Now, you still have to be attached. We haven't done any attachment with this yet. This is the thing that does the attachment. This is called a dual fall arrest lanyard. Okay? It attaches up at the top. So this D-ring here would be on your back. All right, and you attach this thing like that. And as you climb, I should just put the thing on, shouldn't I? Okay. Okay, so there we go. So this thing is on now. And normally you climb with one of these over each shoulder. All right. So again, here we're climbing and we're alternating, and you always have one of these hooked on. And then the last thing is this is a positioning thing. This goes around the tower, and you connect over here. That's a work. Yeah, it's a work positioning thing. And this one is kind of cool because it's adjustable. So you can. Sometimes you want to be real uptight, and sometimes you want to be leaning further back.
So that's what the equipment looks like. Now I thought I'd give you a quick view of what it looks like in actual use. This is a quick demo that I did using that equipment and on my tower at about 30 feet. What you see here is two camera views. One on the left is a drone view, and we're looking at a spot where guy wires attach down below, and there's a side mount antenna. So there's lots of hardware to climb around here on my way up to a point higher on the tower. So right now you can see the fall arrest lanyard is connected up above me. I've disconnected the positioning lanyard, and I'm starting to move up. As I move up, I alternate between using each of the fall arrest lanyards until I get to the position that I'm trying to be in, and eventually get to the point where I can get myself reattached with the positioning lanyard. You see right here, right now, I think we're going to get that positioning lanyard back around the tower and clipped into my belt. So that's how you stay safe in terms of climbing. You've got to get the correct equipment in your hands and on your body, and then you have to use it correctly every time you climb the tower, even when it's a little bit inconvenient. If you remember, there was one last category of incident types that we found in the fatality and injury data, and that was what we called unsafe maneuvers. I'll just touch on this briefly. In the history of fatalities and injuries that we explored, we learned about a fatality in which a small crew was using limited rigging and attempting to take down a 350-pound, 40-meter Yagi from a 100-foot guide tower. Unfortunately, the antenna fell. It severed an upper guy wire, and the tower buckled, and the climber lost his life as the tower came down. In another incident, a family was attempting to raise an antenna support structure that was to be bracketed to the side of the house. They lost control of the structure, and it fell on a nearby high-voltage power line, taking the lives of 3 members of the same family. So what can we do about these kinds of situations? They vary so much in terms of what actually happened. But at their core, they are often the result of taking on a task without the necessary knowledge, people, and tools. The answer is in changing the way we think about these activities. Every antenna or tower project we take on needs to be considered carefully and with the help of an experienced team. It's difficult, but it's so important to recognize when a job is simply beyond what you are capable of doing and when it's time to turn it over to the experts. That's all I have for you today on the causes and the solutions. At this point, it's time to look to the future. Where do we go from here? Last week, we learned about this problem in our community, a serious problem that really deserves our attention. And this week, we learned about this deadly duo of 2 relatively simple things with simple solutions, which so unfairly took our friends and our colleagues from us. And we also sense that the rate of these incidents and injuries is on the rise. So what can we do? Where do we go from here? Being safe will require us to change. Behaving as we have in the past can no longer be the accepted norm. Safety is a mindset. It's a new way of thinking. Safety is a choice that we have to make individually and collectively. And it's a commitment. Changing the way we behave won't happen overnight. We have to stick with it until it becomes a part of us. Let's talk about that mindset. Each of these points requires that safety be top of mind. Take a look at the last 2 points, being responsible and being strong. These aren't easy. When you're working with people who have not made the leap yet, what are you going to do? Well, here's what I've done. What you see in the pictures is just an outward appearance, but there's much more going on that you can't see in the images. The most important point is that I made the choice. I decided to make necessary changes and to accept the costs. Of course, I upgraded my equipment, and that came along with a hard dollar cost. I made the choice to prioritize that expense above other things I would have loved to have purchased instead. And I accepted the soft costs as well, the added time and the extra effort required to do my tower work. I've also let friends who work with me know that I expect them to be properly equipped and knowledgeable when they come to assist. So now that you've heard my story, I'll turn it over to you and ask what you plan to do to help make a difference. Are you a tower climber? Is this the moment for you to upgrade your gear? Are you a non-climbing tower owner? Should you pay more attention to the way work is being done on your tower and antennas? What steps will you take to help make tower work safe for all of us? Next week, in our last episode, we'll shift the discussion to the question of how we can initiate change across our large and diverse community of 800,000 licensees. With 38,000 towers out there and many thousands of climbers, plus field day participants and organizers and all those among us who do antenna work, we need a strategy to make things happen. So as always, I look forward to hearing all your feedback and suggestions and comments. Thanks to all of Ham Nation for listening in, and see you next week.
That was absolutely wonderful. And as we said in the beginning, we need more of this, and we will do more of this here on Ham Nation, and I appreciate all of your time. I can't imagine how many months and hours it took you to put this together, Jim. And you still got a lot more coming next week, right?
I do. Really looking forward to talking about the things we as a community can do to solve these problems. There's a lot we can do, and the good news is that out of this data, we really see some core issues, and they're addressable. I think that many of the situations that we put ourselves in doing this kind of work are preventable. So we'll do that.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
There are a couple of questions, at least one or two comments in the chat room that we could talk about.
Okay, go ahead.
Jim, I have a question for you.
This is my chat room assistant subbing in for
right.
tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, Brett's question about a lifeline. Okay, so I talk about using a full body harness and and these dual fall arrest lanyards. The reason that that's good, and it's good on my tower and a lot of ham towers, is because you may have equipment mounted at different points on the tower. So on my tower, I have rotators at several different levels. The concept of that lifeline is that you put a strong line attached very securely at the top of the tower, and then you have this one grabby thing, an ascender, that you connect to that lifeline, and you can go up and down the tower without having to do the lanyard stuff back and forth. You are securely attached to that lifeline. Where that gets to be trouble is that in many tower situations for hams, the amount of equipment on the tower makes it hard for that lifeline to route easily all the way top to bottom. It's not always a convenient option. However, I would definitely say it is an option in situations where it can work, and it makes the climbing a little easier. Well, it makes it a lot easier because you don't have to bounce back and forth with that dual lanyard. Yeah, okay. Are there any other ones? Let me see if there's anything else in there.
I want to know.
Yeah.
Jim, they wanted to know if you plan to publish these so that we could have them in a segment that could be used for ham clubs or whatever. Do you have any plans for that?
I got to tell you, Bob, I have been responding to requests for club meeting presentations ever since the first time I did the thing. I'm working on condensing it down to a presentation that's of a reasonable size so that it can be done in half an hour. So yes, we're going to have this available. We'll have slides available that could be delivered by anybody, and we'll have video available that's shorter and more concise, so that a video can be presented at a club meeting as well.
Sure. Well, when you get that together, why come on the show again, and we'll talk about just that particular program that you have put together.
Yep, we'll. One of the things we want to do is come on with some frequency, some regularity. We want to have this kind of discussion become part of our culture, that it should always be there. If we're there talking about it just before somebody decides to go and do something out in their tower, they'll be thinking of this. So share of mind and awareness is a big part of the solution.
Yeah, absolutely. Gordo, you're still with us. What do you have, Gordo?
Well, everything that Jim points out is so appropriate for those of us that go, oh my gosh, the director is like leaning slightly 20 degrees off, a big crow or whatever sat on it. Let me just go up there and free climb up there, push that director up. And so, Jim, now we're going to take a second thought about just jumping up 20 or 30 feet. And it would be interesting to see how many hams have been injured or lost their life by free climbing maybe only 20 or 30 feet to fix that drooping director or whatever they're doing. But boy, let me tell you, the first 2 sections of this tower safety seminar has really gained attention of hams that, like me, and I have 2 towers, they're aluminum, but still I climb them, although they're all the ways retracted. But I go up there just to adjust something, and I've really got nothing but a positioning belt, not the full safety harness. So for $500, you bet, that's on my Christmas list, Jim.
Okay, great, Gordo. You're doing the right things. Getting you to think about this is really the goal. And next week when we talk, we'll have some ideas about how maybe you can acquire the equipment and get some training, and all those things are going to start to come into play. So glad you're pleased with what we're doing. The reactions have been phenomenal. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you guys all next week.
Let's see. Is Don still there? Is Don with us?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I get antsy around stepladders, so you will not find me on a tower. I was involved with one tower climb. We were doing a repeater antenna on the New Orleans VHF Club up at about 700 feet, I think, 500 or 700 feet. And believe me, it was all professionally done, all the safety gear, all the I's were dotted, all the T's were crossed, and no chances were taken, period. And that's the way it has to be.
Absolutely.
We're saving lives by talking about this. We're absolutely saving lives. I'm firmly convinced of it. And this is something we should have talked about a long time ago.
There's two points I want to make. You triggered one, Don. One is that this is an issue that cuts across all of our different parts of our community. This is not just a DXers and contesters problem. This is not just a repeater owner's problem. It's all of us. Antennas and towers are the lifeblood of what we do. So it's important across our whole community. I think that's worth mentioning. Second thing is, Gordo, you mentioned problems that can happen just a few feet off the ground. Well, you'll note that in the talk, I mentioned that the falling with a tower usually happens within 30 or 40 feet. Turns out the injuries are much more severe when you come down with a tower and the tower lands on you, not just you falling to the ground. So being close to the ground doesn't make you safer. And second thing is, I'll tell you about a personal experience. This summer, I made a small mistake. I fell down. I fell off my tower. I fell off my tower at like the lowest rung. I misstepped and I fell backwards, and I fell on my back. But it was just from about a foot or two off the ground, and it hurt. My leg hit the concrete base pretty hard. It was tough. So the height of injury, the height that you fall from, don't be fooled. You can get seriously hurt from just a few feet off the ground.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Well, we really appreciate all you're doing. I look forward to next week, and we definitely will continue. And for anybody that would like to use this, I should mention this. You are absolutely free to pull up any piece, like we did with the pine board. Leo Laporte is so kind to not copyright all this for him. It's yours. The Ham Nation is your show, and any piece of it, you'll be able to do that. So we're going to have to head on out of here, and let me see what we can do next week. I'm looking forward to your number 3, and we'll continue on. I know that Tim Duffy has some more to do, and we'll continue this here on Ham Nation. Tell all your friends you got to come and see it, and we'll see if we can help you. So I thank you so much for being here, Jim. Everybody, it was nice to see Holly and Craig, and of course Santa Claus. That was great. And of course Gordo and Don. We'll all be back here in the same hitched here next week, and we'll see where we go from there. In the meantime, keep things safe, get on the air, and Let's talk about safety and ham radio at all times. Glad to be back home. This is K9EID, Belleville, Illinois. Bye-bye for now, everybody.